Is anyone surprised, ladies and gentlemen? Hello, YouTubers. Alaska Prepper here. Let's get right into this. FEMA denies East Palestine's request for federal assistance. I've often said that we need to wean ourselves off of the federal government in any way possible. State governors should wean their states off of federal government in any way and as soon as possible. Do not accept any more money for schools. Do not accept any more money for food banks. Do not accept any more money for hospitals. Let the people in the state do it for themselves. It will be tough at first, but it will be better in the long run. And here it says that one of the worst environmental disasters in U.S. history just occurred, and we all know what this is about. This is East Palestine in the state of Ohio with that train derailment where they did not take a look at the second, third, fourth, in this case probably fifth, sixth, and seventh order effects of doing a controlled burn of a very hazardous chemical. With just about 5,000 residents, it's clear that the town itself is not equipped with the resources needed. But wait a minute, I thought that the company that owns that railroad or that rail car system donated $25,000. Well, they did, ladies and gentlemen. Unfortunately, that comes out to about $5 per residence. All right. Let's see, not equipped with the resources needed to address a problem that would overwhelm even the nation's largest cities or metropolises. According to the Ohio governor, the Federal Emergency Management Agency, FEMA, has denied his state's request for federal assistance for the residents of East Palestine. And wait till you hear why, ladies and gentlemen. The governor says that FEMA continues to tell him that Ohio is not eligible for assistance at this time. It's not bad enough. Not enough people are dying. Not enough fishes or wildlife is dying. Even though this is probably, in my opinion, probably the largest disaster that has occurred in the history of the United States as far as chemical-borne, illnesses will result from this. This has implications to go on for years, ladies and gentlemen, for years. And they did it. Why? Why did they do this controlled burn without thinking of what it would do to the environment, to the state, to other states downwind of where this burn took place? Why? Because they wanted to make money. They wanted to keep those rail cars going, even though here not too long ago the federal government sided with the companies and told the union workers, hey, go back to work. We know that the conditions of your work is really not great. And we know that you have a right to strike against this company and not return to work. But they said, no, we're going to go ahead and interfere here, and we're going to go ahead and tell you to go back to work. But I'm just, thinking out loud. That may have nothing to do with why this disaster occurred. Now, ladies and gentlemen, for those of you that may be new, I always leave the link to all of these articles on a pinned comment so that you can revisit them if you like. I very rarely read the entire article. I just go ahead and nitpick the parts that I think are important to talk about. And here it says that despite vowing to provide the public with transparency into the federal response in that relief effort, EPA Administrator Michael Regan offered curious remarks concerning the magnitude of the danger residents of the area face that conflicted with other assurances downplaying the risk. Now, what does that mean? Just listen. Regan explained that his agency categorized the disaster as a fresh accident that presented unsafe conditions on the ground that put EPA scientists and engineers in harm's way. What have I always told you? The government is not there for you, ladies and gentlemen. Let this be a wake-up call. This is a disaster that will affect the lives of millions of people in the coming years. You will be hearing about all of the cancer. You will be hearing about all of the deaths that have occurred that are attached to this one here disaster for years to come. And why don't they want to go in there to help the people that are mostly affected? Well, because they don't want to put their people, the EPA's people, in harm's way. But they're really fast to act to come onto your property. Any ranchers or farmers, let me know if this is true. They're really fast to act to come onto your property and saying, hey, you have a puddle on your ground, so that's considered a waterway. So now we can come in here and do whatever we want. Reagan's remarks on the agency's role concluded with him offering the reassurance that he wanted to be sure that their response would not be putting anyone in the EPA into harm's way. So let's wait until the fire burns the building, and then we can go in when it's safe for us, even though we are the experts. On the back of the Ohio and Pennsylvania border, FEMA is living up to the legacy it made in the aftermath of Hurricane Katrina longer than a decade ago. Given that context, the denial of emergency assistance to East Palestine should come as no surprise. With so much uncertainty surrounding the short and long-term effects of the chemical disaster, one outcome residents of the affected area can see clearly is a continued disdain for government officials, whose unchecked systematic failures create a circumstance for this crisis to occur to begin with. No amount of federal assistance will ever be available to curtail the danger that this presents, and that is true as well. I foresee a time in the future now where people are going to be looking at labels, asking, where did this food come from? Where did it come from? Because if it came from one of the affected areas that is going to be showered with this chemical rain coming out on their land, people are not going to want to eat that food. People are not going to want to eat any kind of food products coming from that area that it affected, not just Ohio, but the many states where all of this smoke flew over. Ohio senator finds toxic chemicals in East Palestine water, but the EPA says no, we can't go in there yet. We have senators who are just going there to check out what's going on, but the EPA, who's trained to do these things, say no. Earlier this week, residents of East Palestine, Ohio were reassured that water is safe to drink. I'm not a professional, all right? I'm not a water purification professional. But I know, and I've said this quite often, that every family in the United States, or every home in the United States, instead of taking out the gas ranges, government, why don't you encourage citizens that live in a domicile where water comes out of a tap to install a reverse osmosis system so that they can be ensured that they're drinking good water? Instead of giving those people that earn $100,000 or more a year a $7,500 rebate if they buy an electric car, because most people that own electric cars make $100,000 or more a year, $64,000 more than the average American, than the median 50 percentile. Instead of giving them a $7,500 rebate, why don't you just go ahead and tell the American people, hey, we'll give you a full tax rebate of what your reverse osmosis system cost you to install in your home? Why not that? Why, ladies and gentlemen? Because they are not there for you. I hope that you're getting this through your head. Because part of being prepared is understanding that you have yourself to rely on. You have yourself, your family, your church, and your immediate community, not someone who's 4,500 miles away. But instead, ladies and gentlemen, of getting down to the ground in East Palestine, Ohio, and fixing the problem and doing what needs to be done, what do? We blame others for it. This is Trump's fault. Who gives a crap whose fault it is right now? To the people of East Palestine, do you think they care whose fault it is? What they care about now is that they don't have to see their children die of cancer in 5 years. What they care about now is that they don't have to wonder if the air that they're breathing in or the water that they're consuming is going to kill them in the future. But idiots like this always pick some kind of freaking agenda that they have to follow in order to gaslight the people. Oh, it's Trump's fault. Who gives a crap whose fault it is right now? We can settle that during the election, right? You can settle that when you cast your vote as far as who you think whose fault it is. This same idiot right here, I saw a short interview clip of him saying why it's so important that if you have an area in a city or anywhere that is being constructed, that not the most qualified people should be working on that job site, but that job site should be diversified. Answer me this question. If you're going to go get heart surgery, would you rather the person that is doing the surgery on you be an expert that knows that human organ inside and out? Or would you rather it be a person that got there because diversity? I know this is very minute, but when I had my shoulder surgery here a few years back, I asked the doctor, his name's Dr. Ward. I still remember his name, Dr. Ward. I asked him, how many of these surgeries have you done? He says, I've done thousands. I didn't care that he was a 6'5" white guy. All I cared about is that he's done that surgery 1,000 times, or in his words, thousands of times. And that he had a great success rate. And his success rate played out on me, because my shoulder has been a lot better off since I received that surgery years ago. Do you really care who's working on your car, or do you care that your car's brakes work? But ladies and gentlemen, we've entered a time where there is no return from this. Too many people in the United States have a privileged mentality, have a victimhood mentality, and love to project their failures onto others. And that is why I say you must stay prepared. You know, one of the water companies that I work, or water purification companies that I work with, or have been working with for a while, because I think they make a very good product, is SimPure. And they contacted me and they wanted me to do a, reverse osmosis giveaway. And I said, yeah, absolutely. And they had to contact me back and say, hey, we can't do it because we are 100% out of stock. You know what that tells me? That most people are not prepared. And most people can prepare, but they wait till the last minute. People waited till the last minute to get these filtration systems into their homes. And now water filtration companies, they are running out of stock. And people are having to wait that don't have those systems in their home until they're back in stock. Should they have done it already, there wouldn't be a problem with these systems being out of stock, and they wouldn't have to worry about the water that they're drinking. Ladies and gentlemen, get prepared. There are so many examples around the world as to why you should get prepared now instead of waiting till the last minute. I hope you got something out of this. Remember that you can't count on government, ladies and gentlemen. You can count on yourselves. You can count on your family, your church, your community. At the very, very, very least, or last case scenario, your state. That is, if that state is not in collusion with the United States government. We all know where this country is headed. It's headed into a dark place, but out of dark, ladies and gentlemen, there will be light. Eventually, good will overcome evil. And that is why we need to be prepared and stay prepared so that we can make it through that transition. Having said that, I hope you have a great rest of your day, ladies and gentlemen. Do a little bit of prepping this weekend. All right? A little bit every day goes a long way. Or a little bit every week. Or every time you go shopping for food, do a little bit of prepping. Put it in your budget. Have a prepping budget. Even if it's $5 a month, put it in your budget, ladies and gentlemen. In the end, it will pay off. It will pay off in the long term. One quick example that I can use for that is this. Some people say, well, I can't afford to buy silver, right, to preserve my purchasing power. And I tell them, you don't have to buy an ounce. You don't even have to buy an ounce of silver. But if you buy one dime, 190% silver dime, if you buy one a week, that's 52 in 1 year, which is more than most Americans have. Can you believe that? If you spend $2 to $3 a week, or a payday, let's say even a payday every other week, which is usually what paydays are nowadays, every other week. If every other week you bought 2 dimes, that's about $5, maybe $6, depending on what the dollar amount over spot is, the premium is. That's $5-6. And then after a year, you're going to have 52 dimes. More than any American. Your average American does not have 52 silver dimes, or the equivalent of about 5 ounces or so of silver. So you can do it. Slow and steady does win the race. But if you wait till the last minute, it'll be too late. Have a great day. God bless every one of you. God bless America. I'm Alaska Prepper. I'm out.